In the question, ask you to find the leg length by given the permissible stress and also leg length. Permissible stress dekat sini maksudnya bila dia suruh you cari, bukan you check. If you check, then checking lah. Meaning dia akan bagi leg length, dia akan bagi length of welt. So that, and also dia akan bagi force. So you boleh check. But here, dia tak bagi length of welt. Meaning dia minta you cari dengan bagi maximum stress ataupun permissible stress, yang allowable stress lah, yang dibenarkan. Meaning that you akan gunakan this 115 as the maximum. Maksudnya, you akan gunakan, okay, you akan design dia to the maximum, to the allowable, to the permissible stress. Formula, permissible stress, okay, should be bigger than the actual stress. So the permissible stress is 115 Newton over mm square. And the actual stress, again, we're going to use the, but since we are going to take the permissible stress as the stress that we're going to use for kita punya calculation, so kita akan ambil dia as a stress yang kita akan pakai. Jadi kita akan allow sampai 115, so kita pakai sama dengan lah, tak perlulah bigger than macam tu So sama dengan, so force divide by area lah. As you know, the formula is in part 2, you learn this one, stress is equal to force divide by area. Area dia, okay, for to find the area for fillet welts, okay, throat thickness ni ini adalah throat thickness okay, times with welt length, darab dengan welt length. So you akan dapat area. So to find this one, so maksudnya kan dia macam ni, and then berapa panjang benda ni ke sana, darab dengan welt length dia lah yang arah sana. Okay, so itulah dia yang kita cari. Kita nak cari this welt length ni. Force, we know that in the question it is 100 kilonewton. So we put 100 kilonewton tukar to newton. So times 10 power of 3 Newton. And divide with the throat thickness. So to find throat thickness, yesterday I ada bagi formula. Not really a formula. How actually we going to, kita akan dapat throat thickness daripada leg length Sin 45 degrees. Okay. Darab dengan leg length. You akan dapat throat thickness. Darab dengan welt length, which is equal to sin 45, if I'm not mistaken, it is 0.707. (115 Newton over mm square), sama dengan dia lah. So you can finally dapat value of welt length. But welt length ni sebenarnya kita tak payahlah tulis panjang welt length. Kita mungkin boleh tulis length aja, L. This one, you can move it here. And ini, you can move it here. Yazid, 153.742. Okay, betul. Depends ya, kalau if let's say, sebab I believe that kalau you kira sin 45, mungkin you takkan dapat like tepat-tepat 0.707. Mungkin you can dapat some other value, macam like 0.707 something, and then you terus directly calculate everything. Kan, macam you terus kira sin 45 darab leg length 115 terus kira direct, so mungkin you akan dapat jawapan yang beza, but tak apa. Okay, asalkan value dia tak mengarut-ngarut lah. So this one is in millimeter. Itu je. Okay, so you dah dapat jawapan. This is the final answer. We have fulfilled the question. I put it in the exercise. This is like the past year question from October 2016. Because hopefully this is like the typical question that have been repeatedly appear in finals. The double cover butt joints in figure 3 show below is subjected to a tensile load of 250 kilonewton. So this one is force. Force. Determine if the joint is safe by checking the strength of the cover plates bolts and tension member. The question minta you kira, so cover plates, meaning you kena kira cover plates punya tension, that tensile stress dia. And then you kena kira bolts. So kalau bolts, obviously memang ada dua. One for shearing and another one for bearing. And also tension member. So tension member kat sini is actually member plates lah. Sebab you tahu kita ada two types of plate, which is cover plate ataupun splice plate. And another one is member plate. This is double shear. So double shear, kalau you nampak kat sini dia ada macam sandwich. Drawing kat sini pun dah look like a sandwich kat situ. Ini adalah splice, saya explain balik, ataupun cover plate. Okay, these two atas bawah ni. And dua yang kat tengah ni, kalau you nampak sebenarnya dia ada sambung, ada garisan kat sini. So sebenarnya you trying to combine two plates together. So those two that you trying to combine is member plate. So member yang in tension, when it say like tension member, it referring to member plates lah. Sebab these plates yang in tension because of the force that trying to separate the plate. Okay, because you nak combine dia sama, but there's a force that's trying to separate it, so they're in tension. So usually I will calculate bolts first. Okay, so first I will calculate bolts in shear. So as usual, the permissible stress should be bigger or less than the actual stress. Because of kita sekarang ni, we are not trying to design. The design is already there. Okay, but we are checking only whether it can resist or not such force. For bolts in shear, you see the permissible stress, which is PS. Up here, it is 80. Okay, so we're going to put like 80 Newton over mm square here. We must make sure that this value 80 is not exceeded by the actual stress. You know that the formula for stress is force divided by area. So we can just fill in. The force is 250. We need to change it into Newton, convert it into Newton. And here you see there is area. Okay, area yang mana? So we need to look at which area that is actually in shear. So kalau you tengok bolts supposed to be like something like this lah kan? Like bulat macam ni lah if you look at the front view of the bolts. Yang in shear is actually dia punya cross section, because you know shear is for that what cause shear. Kalau you tengok force divided by areas, the area should be selari. Force like this, it should be selari, so it should be the cross section area of the bolt. So cross section dia you potong lah sini. So you akan dapat benda bulat macam ni lah. That is the cross section of bolt. You need to calculate that area. So to calculate bulatan, it should be pi r square. So pi darab the radius. Okay, we see the bolt diameter stated here. It is 20 mm. Okay, when it's 20, so the radius become half of the diameter. It should be 10 mm. Power of 2 pi r square. And we are not done yet. We have to times 2. Why? Because of this is double shear. So if you look at here, so you ada distance, this is the plates that you nak combine kan? And then you ada one big plate of, so bolts ni kan dia duduk kat atas ni, lepas tu dia pun turun lah ke bawah ni. So dia in tension dekat dua tempat. Okay, dua tempat ni paling tension lah. Okay, so that's why dia ada dua. And also we have to times 6 because we have 6 number of bolt at one side. Sebab kita akan kira satu side saja. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 number You tak perlu kira yang 80 ni tau. 80 ni we just kita just compare. You just calculate here only. whatever here, because we are just putting this 80 because we need to compare with the value later on. 66.315. So 80 tu ignore je because you trying to compare the value actually. So when we dapat macam ni, we can see that 80 ni is actually bigger than the 66.315 Newton over mm square, which means this is safe. The next one, we're going to calculate the bolts in bearing. Okay, we have this permissible stress. Also must be bigger or actual stress. For bolts in bearing, we have to look at again. Okay, up here, the bolts in bearing, the permissible PB is 250. Here, to compare. Okay, the actual stress is force divided by area again. And then force, it is 250, sama je. And we have to divide with the area. So for this one, the area is different. Okay, bolts in bearing. Okay, bearing stress is actually stress that come out from the force when there is like a surface in contact. Okay, this bearing stress is not actually happen in all like elements of steel macam tu, but it happen in connections. Mostly happens connections sebab dia ada like some contacts and some like macam mana nak cakap, they want to maintain the shape and they in contact and like there's a force that trying to push it to move the other surface that in contact tu. So dia ada this bearing stress. Okay, kalau you tengok pun foundation because of we also if you still remember lah, in part 2 you learn like something like bearing pressure when you calculate for retaining wall, because retaining wall the direct contact dengan ground. Okay, so ground and the retaining wall itself ada bearing stress ataupun bearing pressure. So kita kena kira on that part. Okay, and also in connection. Any connection punya calculation akan ada this bearing stress. So area for bearing stress is different because right now kita tengah kira for bolts. Okay, jadi kita akan tengok area yang dekat bolt saja, jangan tengok kat plate langsung But which area we need to see this one. Okay, so this is your bolts again. Okay, you ada bolts you macam ni lah. So dia termasuk ke dalam kan. And you have like 6 numbers of it. Okay, sebab kita kira half of it 6 numbers. Okay, so when it is like 6 numbers, maksudnya you kena darab dengan 6 lah akhir sekali But right now kita nak figure dulu mana area dia. Okay, you don't need to look at the cover plate punya area. Okay, you tengok area ni je. Yang dekat member plate. Okay, because the bearing is at member plate. Ini yang paling tinggi dekat member plate. Bearing yang you kena tengok is at this area. Yang in contact is basically, misalnya dia punya lebar ni bukan lebar whole plate Ingat sebab ini bolt punya cerita, so lebar bolt tu, which is lebar going to be the diameter of bolt, which is 20 mm diameter bolt. So here it is 20 mm the diameter, and we need to consider also the thickness of the plate. Sebab yang in contact dekat member plate ni je, okay, setinggi member plate sahaja. Okay, so tinggi member plate here is 30 ini. Therefore, area dia should be ini 30, okay. 20 times dengan 30 mm dan darab dengan 6 sebab ada 6 biji bolt. 20 mm the diameter darab dengan 30 mm and darab dengan 6 because of 6 number of bolt. Nurul Afikah
69.444.
Okay, betul. Thank you, Nurul Afikah. And we see that this value is also less than this 250 permissible stress, which means it is also safe. Then we are done with number 2. We go to number 3. As it for number 3, it's up to you because sekarang kita tengah buat plate. So ada dua plates which is member plate and cover plate. So I akan buat cover plates dululah. And then we have like permissible stress sama je. So for plates, plates in tension, we can look here. This is the permissible, which is 155. Put 155 here. And the actual stress again, force divided by area. Okay, for force, you know it is 250 darab 10 kuasa 3 Newton. And then you have to divide by area. Okay, which area? Macam mana nak kira area for this one? Now we have gambar macam ni You have to cut it here. Potong kat sini. Kalau you tengok macam ni bila dia tulis like member plate 225 times 30. What does it mean? Okay, sebenarnya lebar ni 225. Tinggi dia adalah 30. Panjang ni we don't really care. Okay, panjang ni we don't care. Lebar dia 225 tu So itu maksud dia. Okay, so now we cut here. But sekarang kita tengah buat cover plate. So cover plate sama juga. This is 200 and this is 20. And another one 20. So kita akan cut dekat that part. And we going to draw it. So 200 times 20. Okay, I tulis nanti So I cut dekat situ. So I akan nampak macam ni. So right now we are talking about cover plates Ini ada hole And this is the one yang ada besi lah. I mean plates yang bersambung. And then dia ada hole in between. You cut dekat area yang berhole tu. So it looks like this. But the thing is you ada dua lah. Maksudnya atas bawah. But I takkan draw sampai 2 biji lah. Okay, kita faham-faham sendirilah sebab dia macam sandwich kan. So dia ada top and bottom. So right now kita nak kira area yang kuning. Sebab sekarang kita nak kira area kuning ni. So we need to know hole ni berapa dia punya lebar ataupun diameter dia. So for hole, it stated here that bolt dia adalah 20 but hole is 22. So sebenarnya kalau dia tak bagi hole sekalipun, you boleh tahu kan sebab you kena tambah 2 mm. For 20 mm diameter bolt, 22 mm hole. 22 dia akan jadi 24. Lupalah saya. And then 27 dia akan kena tambah 3. Okay. Starting daripada some numbers nanti you tengok balik notes you. I ada bagi. Dia ada yang tambah 3 mm dan ada yang tambah 2 mm. But here dia dah bagi so you can simply use that 22 mm diameter. Kita tengah buat plate so whole plate lah. So this is 22. 22 and 22. Nak cari yang warna kuning. Okay. So I'm going to write something like this. 200 mm. Okay. We have to minus dengan 3 darab 22 mm. Sebab kita nak tolak lubang, lebar lubang tu. Okay. So kita dah dapat panjang untuk area yang warna kuning saja. And then kita kena darab dengan 20 mm height. So sekarang ni ini adalah area untuk yang warna kuning. And because of this is double shear. Okay. So since dia double shear, dia sandwich, maksudnya dia ada dua cover plates. It means that you kena darab dengan 2 sebab sebenarnya kan ada atas bawah. Loretta 46.642. Okay, betul. Thank you. Newton over mm square. And we get this value for the actual stress which is lower than the 155 Newton over mm square for the permissible stress. So maksudnya safe lagi. Last kali, calculating tension in member plate. So permissible stress. must be bigger than the actual stress again. It is sama because both plate permissible stress is 155. Force divided by area. The force is 250. And simply divide with the area. So area for this one is actually cara dia sama je macam you kira for cover plate. Okay, but you don't need to times 2 because dia bukan macam sandwich. Kita pun kira separuh je daripada two sides of the members yang you nak connect tu. What we need to do is sama juga. We going to cut it here again. Doesn't matter lah, you cut it here pun sama je. Cut whenever you want. Okay. Cut here. Okay, and you see that dia punya lebar for member plate it is 225 and the height is 30. The thickness is 30 based on this one member plate. So we draw it again. Oh, terpanjang pula kali ni. And we know that hole masih sama, macam mana pun hole punya size is always 22 diameter. And we need this value. Kita nakkan, area ni Simply cara sama, so 225 mm. Okay, bukan lagi 200 because of this is member plate. So ikut member plate punya lebar lah. 3, okay. Darab 22 mm diameter of hole and darab dengan the thickness of member plate which is 30 mm. And we don't need to times 2 because member plate ada satu saja for one layer. Okay. So answer dia 52.411 Newton over mm square. And we compare with the permissible, we can see that this value is less than the permissible. Okay. Which means this is okay also. Safe. Okay. So you dapat perfect A lah for design something yang safe.